It's getting more and more hurt as I know that you'll never get to me. I'll never get this emotional, which is a song that someone wrote. It's like I'm reading a story of how my life is in the past. I never thought that I could ever find someone who feels the same way as me. It's just that this someone is different from me, that I will never talk to him. Dream, you are in reveries of mine. Dream, I could never get to talk to you. And even if we could meet someday, you'll never see me the same I do. This is the only thing I can do, write a song for you. When someone knocks the door, somehow I wish it would be you. And every time I walk, somehow I hope I could see you. Even if you are covered with a hat or a big hoodie of yours, I will recognize easily, 'cause I know exactly how you look. It might be weird for some people who don't understand, but I don't know how can I erase these feelings of mine. And even if I could delete all your songs and the pictures in my phone, the memories of how I could be happy is lingering in my thoughts. Dream, you are in reveries of mine. Dream, I could never get to talk to you. And even if we could meet someday, you'll never see me the same I do. This is the only thing I can do, write a song for you. Saying how should it be is now never get to see. Talking about the reality is now never get to hurt. Some people might not understand that he is the only one I want now. But no, I shouldn't think like that, 'cause it will trouble him. Dream, you are in reveries of mine. Dream, I could never get to talk to you. And even if we could meet someday, you'll never see me the same I do. This is the only thing I can do, write a song for you.
Of course.
Me.
Oh, get
Oh.
political. Oh, not a good look.
Okay, people should be able to hear me now. I was not muted. I was muted because I swapped around some stuff in my PC and I forgot to change the thing for my mic. So I'm gonna redo my intro. Hello everyone, welcome. This is the winners bracket round 2 edition of the Waveline. As always, this is your host, Xernian. I'm joined by Clutch and Matt Pizza. What I said earlier was Matt Pizza did a little bit of his homework for the Waveline this week. So, Matt Pizza, please enlighten us, my good friend.
So, last week, right, we had the Abyssal versus Hyperion Origin game, and that resulted in a 2-0 for Hyperion Origin. And then, the game that I was kind of like sad about was the BFU versus VBU game, where BFU came out on top, 2-1. Did I do good?
I think you grieved.
Did I?
Died.
Hello?
It's okay. I'm here now, Matt Pizza. All right?
Okay.
We're going to improv a little bit. All right, Matt
Mhm.
Pizza. So while she's dead, and probably someone
Hello, is
came
it
into her
working?
room.
All right.
She's back now.
Oh,
Okay, we're winning.
I was about to improv a little bit.
Okay, I like it.
Not anymore, though. Not anymore.
What?
You're
No,
back.
no, I wanna hear
You're
the-
back.
You're
Back
back.
off.
No,
Alright.
sorry.
No, continue.
I'm waiting
hear
for
the
my
clutch.
takes on the show, okay?
Okay. All right. Well, then with that, As per usual, we'll look at what happened last week. So, obviously, we had the first and fourth seed go against each other, which was Hyperion Origin versus Abyssal Sapphire, which was a 2-0 for Hyperion. And we also had the stream match. So, that was the second seed versus the third seed. That's VBU Krypton versus Flippa United. So, like, looking back at last week, so Clutch, you and I, we voted Abyssal 2-1. And Matt Pizza actually was correct in guessing Hyperion 2-0. So, Matt Pizza, you were correct last week. So, give us a little reminder, like, why did you think Hyperion was going to 2-0?
Okay, well, obviously Hyperion in their division was the strongest team coming out, right? I believe they only dropped one game, and that was to BDE. And I mean, BDE aren't even in playoff contention or aren't even in the playoffs round. So right now, from my point of view, Hyperion has has almost a free rest of the playoffs bracket. Their game today will probably be the most difficult game for them, in my opinion. But that's for later in the pre-show. But looking back at the game, right? Looking back at what happened in Hyperion Origin versus Abyssal. It was Kappa Crusader game one just popped off on the Trundle pick into the Nocturne top, right? This guy 10-1 on the Hullbreaker Trundle. Like Hullbreaker Trundle. That man, my man's was just split pushing to win the game. And everyone just kind of was just like, yeah, sure, let's just let Trundle just munch away at the turrets and let's just chill out. And then game two, it was a closer game. For the side of Abyssal, James Moriarty definitely popped off. He was 12-5 on the Vayne, and it was a scary sight to see. But I think Hyperion Origin played really well, and they played like to their team fight comp that they drafted. Right, they had the Wukong, they had the Sejuani and Set, so it was really hard for Vayne to be able to do anything in these team fights against such a team fight wombo combo heavy comp that Hyperion drafted.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. Hyperion is still showing us, like, hey, we're the number one seed, and, like, keeping your spot up in the winner's bracket. Obviously, it's a double elimination bracket, so, you're like, holding on to that kind of, like, second life, right? So, if they lose here in the winner's bracket round 2, that means, hey, like, that means you get one more chance at finals. So, it's like you said, Matt Pizza, Hyperion did play very well this series. Then on the other side of the coin, Clutch, you and I said 2-1 Abyssal, so then from there, like, what happened from Abyssal side?
So Abyssal Sapphire, obviously, you look at their roster, right? You have the Fire of the Fox, obviously is their star player. They have to play around this guy. This guy is insanely talented. Top 3 mids in the league, clearly, because he was on the All-Star ballot. And this is their star player. Now, James Moriarty, I think, is also very good. But the Fire of the Fox is their star player. James Moriarty is their secondary carry. So the only problem is when the Fire of the Fox gets neutralized and he isn't able to get ahead, this team just falls apart. And you saw it against Hyperion, right? If we're looking at it, he went 5-2. He actually did a decent job, but the rest of his team is like Golem 2-3, Darkstar 0-6, Moriarty 2-5, Mule Life 0-6. Like, there's so much you can't just literally 1v9. It's almost impossible to do. And then in game 2, they actually were in a good spot to win. But the execution later on in the macro just wasn't in their favor, and Hyperion was able to take the win. So Abyssal this week need to find a way to play around Fire of the Fox. I don't care what you do. If it's like camping this guy's lane 24/7, but you have to get him ahead. Otherwise, their team just falls apart. And unfortunately, it they're in losers bracket now. They did lose 2-0, so you lose one more time, you're out. You don't get to come back. So definitely find a way to play around the Fire of the Fox in the mid lane, their star player.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hyperion knew how to poke holes into like Abyssal strategy that was kind of like, brought them into the winners bracket in the first place. So, like you said, like Abyssal kind of needs to patch up almost these kind of weaker spots. And, going into this week, right, you're in the losers bracket, you're kind of on your last life, right? So if you lose, you don't even make it to semifinals. So, it's very close. Obviously, it's very exciting all at the same time, but like we're going into round 2 now of the winners bracket. So then with that, we're looking at VBU, Krypton, Flippa, United. So let me just like pull up the predictions one more time. So Matt Pizza, you said VBU 2-1.
Yeah, you said 2-1 Flip. I said 2-0.
Yeah. So Matt Pizza, you said 2-1 VBU last week, and I know I know you're a VBU fan. So, like, I know we all have a lot of comments about this series, but Matt Pizza, as you were the only one to believe in VBU last week, what do you think would have like pushed them to the win then?
Well, I think if game 1 just didn't happen, I'll be completely frank. I think like game 1 should not have ever happened because for context, right? Game 1 for VBU, they had 1 kill, and Flippa had 21 kills. Like that was such a demoralizing loss. The fact that no one on the team aside from Allfire getting 1 kill, right? Like I think if that didn't happen, right? Game 2, they played really well. Game 2, it was the Krypton we've seen throughout the whole entire season. The Krypton that were like, okay, this is like the top 2 team in EGL, right? Like this is the Krypton that we've seen before that like plays to the players' level. And game 2, they did do a roster swap. They did opt to have Paxton sub out and have trucks come in the bot lane, and they did win, which was really good to see. But then game 3, they decided to roll roster swap yet again. So this like roster swap issues that we've seen from Krypton, it's kind of like what we've seen from BDE, right? Like, but from BDE's roster swap, it was like in the middle of the playoffs or playoffs in the middle of the regular season, so they had more room to like work around. And BDE did get a solid roster in like the last 2 weeks of the season, but unfortunately they didn't make it. And like for Krypton to be having such huge roster issues right now, it's like it's such a sad thing to see as a VBU fan.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll touch on all of that in a bit later when we look at the prediction for this week. But yeah, like you said, Matt Pete's like the start to that series kind of set the tone and the pace for the rest of the series. Like, first game, Flippa was so dominant, right? And we could tell it kind of like put VBU in, like in a different spot, right? They weren't playing 100% going into game number 2. And obviously that's very difficult. Like, when you get kind of slammed game 1, then, the best thing to do is try and mentally reset, but obviously, like, we're not perfect. We can't do that, as we need to sometimes. So VBU Krypton went into the second game, like, a little tilted. They changed the roster up a little bit, and I think, like if it weren't for Kyton, like, herring at the very end, like, buster shotting, like, 2 people into the fountain. And by the way, guys, if you haven't seen the VOD, Colonel went, like, kind of God mode on that cast. I think it was a really good cast from him and Clutch, and but, like, yeah, like you said, Matt Pizza, it was kind of devastating for VBU fans because, they weren't really playing at their 100%. They weren't the VBU we were seeing, earlier into the season. And we kind of, like I said, again, we're going to touch on some of the stuff they're doing this week, but I don't know. I'm a Flippa fan because, I don't know, I feel like Flippa at this point in the season has been playing so consistently and so well, and they've showed us just time and time again that, like, they have what it takes to push themselves even further through the season. So obviously, winners bracket round 1, VBU again has one more chance in the losers bracket, but Flippa is looking so good this far, and I actually don't know, like, exactly. We've seen them, like, they know where to, like, when they go into the game with a game plan, right? That's a problem so many teams have too. They don't know what they want to do, like, the first, like, 5-10 minutes of the game. Like, Flippa kind of knows what they want to do, and it shows that, like, they get that early lead and then they just snowball. Like, they never really have to play from behind. So I think that Flippa going into playoffs, going into, all of the winners bracket series, they know what they're doing. They know what they want to do. And I think that's, like, putting them above and beyond a lot of other teams right now. So, 2-1 Flippa. That was my prediction. Clutch said 2-0. So, maybe he didn't expect the kites in 1v9 at the end of game number 2. But, Clutch, any final thoughts on this series?
I think Flippa had. This is kind of praising more. I mean, I don't know who set it up. Maybe it was not the management. But this is more. They came in with the plan. They had very good preparation. They knew exactly what they wanted to do and what VBU was going to do, and they just won. They seemed like the better team on the day. It seemed like VBU just didn't come in with a plan. They just didn't really scout Burger Flip. And I'm telling you, in this league, in a gold league, if you scout and you prep against a lot of these teams, you will win, despite maybe having worse players. I mean, look at Monkeys Rising, right? They're literally all like low gold, high silver, and they're beating some of the top teams in the league because of their preparation, because of their game plan coming in. And I'm just saying, it goes a long way. So
Yeah,
Flip United.
exactly.
Yep.
And I agree with that. Like we've seen all the teams play now. Like you can go through the match history links, you can scout, see who likes what picks, who likes what style, who is getting the resources. And
Yep.
like you said, Clutch, if you do your homework and go into every series, every game, like the first, don't like not even like the whole game, just like the first couple minutes of every game, or even just your lane, right? And having that plan, even if it's not the right plan, is better than having no plan at all. So obviously that's that's kind of all we have for these two series then. So we'll go into the predictions. That's what everyone likes to see. Obviously we'll have a little bit of extra time at the end of the show, so maybe I'll talk about the analyst predictions. Do you want me to talk about them now or at the end?
Think at the end.
At the end. All right.
Mhm.
At the end. So we'll go into our first round predictions, our first series predictions, excuse me. We have Clutch, Matt Pizza, 2-1 VBU, and I said 2-1 Monkeys Rising. So this is going to be a very, very interesting series. So Matt Pizza, Clutch, and I, we have talked about this, while we were in the waiting room, and there is a lot to break down. So VBU obviously is, mixing up the roster a little bit. And like we said before, Monkeys Rising has beaten VBU before. Obviously, it was their roster was slightly different, and at the time. But I mean, as the person who's the only one on the Monkeys Rising side, I'll just go first. So basically, my thoughts going into the series was that Monkeys Rising one has I know they've done their homework. I know that they have a game plan going into the series. They know they know what it'll take them to win because they've had those victories before, and then my problem becomes like VBU, I think on paper is definitely a talented team. They have so many, wonderful and good players. Like obviously everyone talks about Chitin, and there's a lot of talent on VBU's roster. But then my problem comes when we only rely on that talent. Like we saw when they came into the series against Flippa, they didn't have a game plan. They didn't know what they wanted to do. So VBU obviously, like, I don't know if I even like this game plan of changing up the roster. It is so late into the season. You're in the losers bracket. You're like fighting for your life. And, if we're not like fixing what we had before, we're just changing up the roster, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think that VBU's win con before was just kind of like hope that Chitin 1v9s. And even changing the roster and being in this spot, your win con is still the same. You still have to rely on Chitin. And I think that's why like Monkeys Rising is probably just going to 2-1 because they have this energy. They have, they have played with each other so much more than this current iteration of VBU that, Monkeys Rising obviously doesn't even matter like if they get like skill checked and stuff. Like I don't think that's going to happen. I think they know what they want to do going into this series, and I think that's going to be the biggest factor that gives them the win. So Clutch, Matt Pizza, you both said 2-1. So Matt Pizza, I'll start with you. I know you got a lot of thoughts going into the series too.
Yeah. Okay. Like I do agree with you. These roster changes like should have definitely happened like a long time ago, right? Like probably like maybe 2 weeks after the initial roster changes, after having Kaiten join the team, right? Like that's when these roster changes should have happened so that the team can build the synergy, can like scrim, can like practice, and like can find other ways to play. Like right now with these roster changes, it really, like you said, doesn't get rid of the core problem of Kaiten having to carry. But in a sense, right, with this new roster that they're bringing in, it should relieve Kaiden of some of the pressure. Not all of it. He's still like there's still the pressure of having to 1v9, but it relieves it some, right? And now VBU is looking a little better. Now obviously they are going against MKR, and MKR like they're a good team, but they are still like they just barely made it into playoffs, right? And if VBU does lose to them, and they do get eliminated from playoffs, from the playoffs bracket in total, then props to Monkeys Rising, props to Packapol, because like that like this team who we've considered as like players straight out of IBS, they're taking on like some top gold teams in EGL and coming out on top. But I just don't think that kind of like I just don't expect that Kaiden is gonna get neutralized enough to the point where MKR really has a chance to like win this best of three. I think at least one game. I know that VBU will throw because it's just a VBU special. They will obviously lose one game. Whether that be kind of getting neutralized or the team just playing bad or whatever. Because it is a new roster lineup that's coming in, so I don't expect everything to work out perfectly. But I do expect it to be a little better than the previous Krypton iteration.
Yeah, and like you said, Matt Pizza, VBU is trying to be better than their previous iteration, but I don't know. I just am on the side of we've made changes, but it's too late, and it's probably not going to be enough. I think that these changes had to have happened at like halfway through the regular season at latest, and we're in the second round of playoffs, and it's I think far too late. But Clutch, you also said 2-1 VBU, so let us know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so VBU coming in definitely is going to be slotted as the favorite to win against Monkeys Rising. Even though they lost earlier in the season, they didn't have Chitin, who obviously is their best player, their 1v9 player. So coming into this, it's basically all on Chitin to kind of what he can do in this series. For the side of Monkeys Rising, like I said, if they come in with the draft plan and a preparation, basically, which I mean they're going to, they have been the entire season. I mean they're gonna take a game. They're gonna take a game because VBU won't be ready, and I just think for VBU that it is 100% on Chitin, and it's like it's just the narrative the entire split. It's just been if Chitin can 1v9, this team looks like one of the best teams in the league. If Chitin can't 1v9, they're like not top 4 at all. So it just depends honestly what kind of day Chitin's having. You if you're a VBU fan, you're hoping this guy got his Wheaties in the morning. You're hoping he got I don't know
Cereal
what.
first and
Yeah,
then milk. Mm-hmm.
you're hoping this guy got some
Mm.
cracked stuff to win because if he didn't and he has an off day, it's going to be very difficult for the side of VBU to win this one. One more thing I do want to say, obviously Ikazuchi I believe is going to be starting tonight, so we'll see how he's going to do. He plays a lot of the carries in the top lane, so it could maybe possibly take some of the burden off of Chitin in the mid lane, but obviously I can say that I haven't seen it yet, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, and like you said, Clutch, we'll have to see, and it really depends because even if you have Ikazuchi playing with these kind of like carry top laners, giving him counter pick, giving him resources, then that kind of takes away from the win con I think VBU is used to. But I don't know. We all agree that it's going to be a 3-game, like a really close series. Clutch, I think I would have liked to stream this series not only because it's a best of 3 and instead of us, best of 5. I feel like this would answer all of our questions like immediately instead of me waiting to see match histories or like people malding in the the chat. But like we all said, this would be a really good series to stream. Obviously, I think someone's gonna I think VBU players might stream it in community streams or something. We'll see. But with that, we'll move on to the next series of this week. So this is a losers bracket game. Again, this is Abyssal Sapphire, versus Hawkthorn Esports. So Hawkthorn Esports again has been having a rough time ever since like the beginning of the season. They had like a really strong start, and I don't know, they've kind of lost momentum. They've lost their footing as the season has gone on. Like we talked about it before. A lot of teams have kind of figured out like what Hawkthorn wants to do. They figured out how to stop them in their tracks. It's like Hawkthorn has been easy to read for other teams almost. And I think Abyssal Sapphire has been playing very consistently. They have the roster changes I think they've made throughout the season have also been really good and all. I just think Abyssal has what it takes to win. So Clutch and I, we both agreed 2-1 Abyssal Sapphire. So Matt Pizza, as the one person who said 2-0 for Abyssal instead of 2-1, what do you think's gonna put Abyssal like above Hawkthorn, so Hawkthorn doesn't even take a game off?
So, looking at Abyssal, obviously the two players that definitely stand out to me are the Fire of the Fox and James Moriarty.
Mm-hmm.
And for Hawkthorn Esports, right, their star players are and counters. And we've known for a long time that their solo laners for Hawkthorn are their weakest points. And looking at Abyssal, the Fire of the Fox, this guy, if he's ahead, if he can get ahead, will just 1v9 the game. And even if he doesn't, James Moriarty is there waiting in the back as like the second carry. That if for some reason the Fire of the Fox isn't able to do much, he's there to help him out. And I think James Moriarty, or not James, I think the Fire of the Fox is going to be able to just get a natural lead against Heartstruck Brother, just because like just a mid disparity, right? Like Heartstruck Brother has been playing these like supportive mid laners, whereas the Fire of the Fox has been playing more so the carry type mid laners. And it kind of goes the same for top, right? Like we've seen Samsucks on like the more so tanks and like not really the carries, but Golem plays the tanks, but we've also seen him on carries. We've seen him be able to like pick up the Aatrox, pick up the Mordekaiser, stuff like that, right? And if Abyssal is able to draft to like counter Hawkthorn in a sense, then the way I see this going is sure, counters can 1v9 the game if he's hit, but I think James Moriarty is going to neutralize counters even with Arf coming in and trying to help counters get ahead. I think James Moriarty and Abyssal Mulef will be able to neutralize the bot lane, and then the solo laners of Abyssal just like just naturally get a lead against Hawkthorn.
Right. And building off of your point, Matt Pizza, I think that, well, obviously we've seen these two teams go against each other in week 4. Hawkthorn versus Abyssal Sapphire is a 2-0 for Abyssal. Like, I feel like Abyssal kind of has already figured out how to play against Hawkthorn. I did give them a win this time because, I don't know, like from that train of thought, I think that Hawkthorn has improved. I think every team in EGL has improved since, week 1 even, but it really comes down just to like if Hawkthorn, maybe they just like have fun. I know Clutch mentioned it before. Like Hawkthorn just has fun. Maybe they have so much fun that like enemy team Nexus accidentally blows up. But like I just think at this point in the season they really haven't shown us like they can beat these higher seeded teams. They can beat these teams that have shown us that they have what it takes to really push themselves through the winner's bracket. Obviously, this is a loser's bracket game, like I said, but I don't know, like, I just think that Abyssal has been playing so consistently so well, and like you said, Matt Pizza, they have their carries, they know who to play around, and it's kind of hard to, like, poke the holes through that strategy and through these players that we know play so well and so consistently, and maybe I did give the game again, like I said, it really depends if maybe Hawkthorn wakes up on a really good day. You wake up and the birds are chirping, sun is shining. It's a day that you take a game off of Abyssal. But like I said, I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but Abyssal I think is just going to take this one. QED. Clutch. You also said 2-1 Abyssal. So yeah, what do you have to add to that then?
So you know what? I hot taked it last week on EDL. I said BDE would 2-0. I said Swag and Vinny would pop off. It got clipped. Go look at the series. And go look who popped off. I'm telling you it was those two players, and it was a 2-0, all right? So I'm just saying the hot take was correct. So we're doing it this time again. I said 2-1 Abyssal, right? So I still have to back up that I think Abyssal is going to win. However, I think Hawkthorn, game 1, is going to come out and slap Abyssal. Like, it's not even going to be close. I'm telling you, like, they are going to destroy them, okay? Because Abyssal is going to be like, guys, Hawkthorn, losers bracket team. They're number 6. They look like crap the entire season. We're just going to beat them. And then they're going to get caught off guard, and Art is going to absolutely smurf in the jungle against Darkstar, and Counters is going to get ahead. And they're going to go up 1-0. And then Abyssal's going to be like, all right, guys, we got to start taking this seriously. And then they're going to 2-0. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my hot take for the week. That's how I got to the 2-1 Abyssal. I actually think, in my opinion, that Hawthorne has a better chance of beating Abyssal than Monkeys Rising has a
beating
chance.
GPU.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really hot take.
That's my hot
yeah.
take. And the reason why I say that
Okay.
is if you look at the matchups for Hawthorne and Abyssal, these two teams, how they match up, top is going to be neutralized. Obviously, jungle hard favors Hawthorne, but mid hard favors Abyssal, and bot lane's even. So it's like it's going to come down to Art versus Fox, basically. It's going to come down to Art versus Fox, even though they're in different positions. That's just going to be the matchup. And I think it's pretty close, surprisingly. So I think Hawthorne actually has a decent chance. Now, Abyssal, what I will say, they're definitely favored to win this. Like, Fire of the Fox is a solid player. I think Abyssal's looked solid this entire season. For Hawthorne to win, Abyssal has to screw up. And if Abyssal doesn't screw up, then Hawthorne doesn't win, right? So if you are saying that Hawthorne's going to win or has a chance, Abyssal has to screw up. It's not Abyssal cannot screw up and Hawthorne will win. No, they have to screw up. It's not an if, it's a has to. All right, one of those. So that's my hot take for the week, that Hawthorne will slam game 1 of the series and has a better chance of winning than Monkeys and Rising against VBU.
Mm-hmm. And like you said too, it's like Hawthorne kind of has to win super hard to really win, because like we said, we've seen a lot of matchups where maybe you just have to neutralize this player, but these carry players of Abyssal Sapphire, you have to do more than just neutralize them. You have to put them behind to really like get your footing and win the game, right? Because then you need to like snowball your lead and push them even further behind than they already are. And like you said, Clutch, I don't know, one game I think is gonna go to Hawthorne, be it like we get like one lucky ace or we just slam them. Like, I don't know, it'll be interesting. But yeah, this is an important series for both teams. Obviously, you're in the losers bracket, and without a win, it's kind of bye-bye playoffs, bye-bye mystery skin.
Oh,
Oh,
not the
mystery
mystery skin. Yeah, there's a giveaway for a
Okay.
mystery skin, by the way. It ends 2.5 hours after 8
Get
Eastern,
in
so
on that.
10:30 p.m. Eastern. You get to add me on your friends list. I'll probably remove you because I'm really close to the friend limit. Sorry, it's nothing personal. Yeah, and then you guys get, a mystery skin if you win. There's also
Let's go!
there's also a sub mystery skin giveaway if you're a sub. So, your chances are a little bit better if you're a sub, by the way. It's like, hold on, I'm really curious what the numbers are right now. I'm gonna go look. So
Is it like
okay, the
70
sub
something?
giveaway has 7 participants right now. You have to minus 1 from the bot. So it's 7 participants for the sub giveaway, and the general giveaway is 75. So, take your chances, people. If you got a prime, it might be worth it if you want a mystery skin. But with that, we'll move on to our last and stream match of the week, our best of 5, our first best of 5 of the season. It is going to be Hyperion Origin versus Flippa United. Obviously, we're looking a little one-sided. Clutch and I predicted a full 5-game series, even though I hope to God it is not a full 5 series. I will cry. Matt Pizza, as the only one who said a 4-game series, 3-1 Flippa. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think it's going to be like Hyperion wins the first game and then Flippa wins 3, or is it going to be like, Flippa wins 1, 2, and like what kind of sequence of games are you seeing?
I could imagine Flippa coming in, taking game 1, and Flippa's feeling confident, right? They go into game 2 and they're gonna lose game 2 because they're just overconfident, right? So then it's gonna be a 1-1, and then I think Flippa just comes in and just wins the next 2 games, just being like, okay, let's not get overconfident. Let's play to how we always play and just not ego it. That's how I can see the series playing out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I don't want Hyperion players to flame me. But my one thing why I said it would be a Flippa win, I think, honestly, I can see the series. I was really torn between a 3-2 Hyperion or a 3-2 Flippa. I think with the way that Flippa has been playing, they've been playing so consistently, and they have so much momentum. They've been playing better and better as the weeks have gone on, and like obviously they make mistakes. That's why I think the series is going to be so close. They lost a game to VBU, and they've they have a 4-3 record, but they are definitely so much better than their record says, because obviously they had roster issues and they adopted an 0-1 record, I believe, and
No, that was.
or no,
IBS.
was that just EDL, right? I
Yep.
thought it was both.
Nope.
Mm.
Well, then with that, like, this is what happens when you have to follow like 20 million teams. So Flippa, obviously, I think has been playing better and better as the weeks have gone, like I said, and I think just coming into the series, like, I think again Flippa is going to have a game plan. They're gonna know what they want to do, and Hyperion Origin, I feel like, has game plans and all of that, and they've been able to just, honestly, like, some series, I think they just skill check the other teams. They're just like, oh yeah, we're just like better, and then they win. But going into this series, I think if Flippa has that solid game plan, like they did against VBU, like they've shown us before, then I think this, one game is just gonna like be super close, and then Flippa wins, and then it's gonna be that's the end. That's the series. It's a full 5 games. I really hope again it doesn't go to full 5 games. I would like to have an evening to myself, but here we are. So Clutch, you also said 3-2 Flippa. Like, what do you think then is going to tip the scales in favor of Flippa over Hyperion Origin?
You want a hot take? You want some more hot takes, guys, or what?
Okay. I love hot takes.
All right.
Send it.
So the reason why I said 3-2 Flippa, and this is going to trigger every single Hyperion fan real hard, and this is what I love because I can't wait to get flamed. The bot diff in this game is going to be greater than the Grand Canyon, guys.
Whew. Okay.
There you go. There's your hot take.
Please elaborate. Elaborate.
Spheric and Riv 60 are going to slap, and I mean slap, Attila and Lo-Fi in the bot lane. And listen, we don't have enough hot takes. We don't have enough one-sided things. So that's what I'm going to say. All right. Now, what I will say for Hyperion is Zuko and Rune Mage are very good players for their team. I mean, Rune Mage will probably beat Ridley Prime. Not saying Ridley Prime's a bad player. I think he's pretty good. But you look at these teams, right? And Flippa has just been on fire. They've just been the most consistent team once they've made this change. They now have Corrido in the mid lane. And we saw Corrido against Chitin last week. He did a pretty good job. Now, obviously, he didn't do good one game. But now he's up against Rakana. He's going to have to do the same thing, basically. And Hyperion, where they shine, is they're a great macro team, a great team fighting team. They work really, really well as a team. I think if you look at BFE's roster, Flippa United, whatever, I think they have the better players, just skill-wise. But Hyperion, they play extremely well as a team. And this is why I think it's going to go to 5. It's going to be down to the wire of which, like, is the skill gap going to matter more than the team gap of how well how well Hyperion plays as a team? I think in the end, it'll edge them out just barely. But it's going to be 5 games. These teams are just so talented. There's a huge gap between the first 2 teams and the rest of the league from what we've seen. Like, Flippa should have 2-0'd VBU, and it wasn't even supposed to be close at all if Titan didn't just make a hero play. So, I mean, this is the finals, right? It's the winner's bracket finals. The winner of this goes to the finals. They don't even have to go to loser's bracket. They just sit there and wait. And the loser now has to battle through a loser's bracket where you could lose. Like, you don't know. Maybe you get upset and you don't even get to go back. And then you're punching yourself like, guys, we were right there. We were that close. So it's going to be huge for one of these teams to win. If it's Hyperion, if it's Flippa, they get seeded right into the finals. It's going to be an absolute banger. I'm so excited to watch this Xernian. It's just going to be insane.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you because this is technically like the last round of like sole winners bracket, right? We could see this matchup again in finals. Say like either of these team loses, they go into the losers bracket, they win, okay, and then we see these 2 teams again in finals. So we could very well be seeing this could be the finals matchup. And like you said, Clutch, like there's so much on the line because if you win, you're going straight to finals. This is a best of 5. You have 5 games to, prove that you're better than this team. And like it's already hard in a best of 3 to really change your game plan from game to game. But, best of 5, you have 2 more games and it's like there are so many more chances for you to try and like, try out different bands, try out different picks. Like, if you have that many strategies, that many tools in your back pocket, then maybe, you'll figure out what you need to do to win. And like you said, Clutch, there's so much on the line and it'll be so close and down to the wire that it's 5 games. And like I said before, it could be Hyperion Origin coming out on top. It could be Flippa United coming out on top. I just said Flippa in the sense of, like I said before, their momentum. They have so much just hype, so much morale going into this series. And I think Hyperion, again, still has that momentum too, but they've had it going on for like the entire season almost. But I feel like, like if I were to like say it on like a, mathematical scale, Matt Pizza, he's the mathematical one here on the desk. But I think Hyperion's has been like a linear like upwards trend, while Flippa's has been like an exponential, like just like it is going like crazy fast. Instead of just going, that linear line, they're going exponential. They're growing so much faster, I think, at this point in the season, and it'll be a really close series. So with that, I think I don't really have much else to say on this series. Clutch or Matt Pizza, this is your last chance for any hot takes.
You want a hot take that makes no sense and is going to be
okay?
completely
I like
wrong,
it.
but
Yep.
it would be fun.
And that,
Okay, so whoever loses this is going to lose to Monkeys Rising in the losers bracket. There you go. the hot take that makes no sense.
So no. Okay, so you're saying Monkeys Rising beats
It's gonna
VBU,
beat, yeah,
and then beats the winner of Abyssal Hawthorne.
Yes, and then they beat.
And then they go against one of these teams.
Yeah, and then they win.
And then
that's my hot take. That makes no sense, but it'd be cool if it happened.
So you're saying Monkeys Rising makes them Miracle Run.
Yep.
And they make it to finals.
Yep.
Okay.
To get 3-0'd by the winner of this.
Okay. I like it. I like that.
It's not gonna happen, guys. But you know what? If that does happen, and you can just record this and
clip
I'm a prophet
and ship it. All right.
But there's no way.
Can we just bring up the fact that this guy would have 2-1 VBU and now he's saying this?
Okay,
like,
that's a hot take, Matt Pizza. VBU
no.
Yeah. Necessarily a hot take.
I'm just putting that there for the recording as well. If anyone is recording this.
Oh my god.
I mean, technically, Twitch records it and then I throw it onto YouTube for archive.
Matt Pizza, your hot take is like CPK is gonna make playoffs and win it all, and I mean, come on, what happened there?
Listen, it was a hot take, okay?
Oh, a little bit. It was a really hot take.
Okay, so then with that, I think this is all we have to say for this series. So I don't have a graphic for the analyst predictions. I never know what to like put on it. It'd be really boring. It would just be like our names and numbers. So I'm just gonna go back to the title screen as we go over this. So obviously the analyst predictions, Clutch and I were able to predict for every single week. Matt Pizza was only able to predict from week 3, onwards. So Matt Pizza missed week 1 and week 2. Basically how I did the math was that you get 3 points maximum a series. That means if you guess the right winner and you get the right score, you get 3 points. If you guess the right winner and the wrong score, you get 2 points. And if you guess the wrong winner, but you have the right score, that's 1 point. And if your winner and your score is wrong, that's 0 points. So that means for 4 series every week, your maximum amount of points is 12. So I got 11 in the first week because I almost guessed every single series perfectly except one. Yeah, except one. And then it was, pretty good from there. My second highest was 8 points in week 4. But anyways, I will give out some numbers and we will decide who the smartest analyst is. So Matt Pizza, he could have earned 60 points throughout the season since he missed week 1 and week 2. So out of 60 points, Matt Pizza himself earned 22 out of 60 points. So that means, Matt Pizza, you got 36.67%. of the points you could have gotten. So
Matt Pizza.
what is that? What's going
I
on?
will
that is-
say it's a little higher than what I expected.
Come
But
on, man. You could have predicted the higher seed every single week and probably would have had a better score.
okay, listen, yeah, but I was still in the
Matt
EDL
Pizza,
mentality
week
where you
6
never know
was-
what's happening.
Week 6 was not hot for you. You got like 2 points, so
Yeah,
Matt Pizza.
it's listen,
The alter
I guess
ego.
my mentality of you know what, sometimes you don't know what happens. It's just league, sometimes the nexus just goes boom. Kind of doesn't work out for gold. It's a bit more calculated and teams are actually consistent. So you know next next split, I'll definitely be aiming for the best EGL caster or analyst caster.
I see. So then with that, Clutch and I, because we voted, or excuse me, predicted every single week, out of, instead of 60, we had 84 points we could have earned every single week. So Clutch, out of 84, you got 42 out of 84. So you got exactly 50.
Yeah, you know what? 50%. We take those. All right.
That's pass. 50.
We take those. Yep, the 50%, we take those. I'm exactly 50%. 50-50 every week, boys.
No, that's not good either. Oh no. So then what I got out of 84 is not that much further than Clutch, but I got 45 out of 84. I think my week 1 prediction is carrying me really hard because I got 11 points in week 1. Clutch, you got 6. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, you predicted Monkeys Rising. I predicted VBU. So this week. So I'm just saying the points might change depending on who wins.
Yeah. Well, so right now I am the smartest analyst by like 1 series. So, there's that. There's that indeed. So, obviously, I don't really have much else for the show tonight, unfortunately. I would have made a little bit of some more, content. Clutch also gave us some predictions in the official content channel if you want to
Let's
read.
go.
Yeah, if you want to read his thoughts on the playoffs, but other than that, I really don't have much else to say. One more thing I guess is, obviously best of 5 tonight. Good luck to every team that is playing. If you guys want to watch, we got some new tech. We premiered it in EDL on Friday. It crashed in the first game, but it survived the second game. So if you want to see some production that's like not that bad, tune in to the stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you sub giveaway, your chances are so much better to win. It's the same prize. It's a mystery skin. You're basically just winning all of EGL. You get a mystery skin. So I'm just saying, your chances are pretty good. But yeah, other than that, we're going to be seeing Hyperion Origin versus Flippa United today at 8 p.m. Eastern again. Best of 5. It'll be a pretty good banger series. Hopefully it doesn't go to a full 5 games. That's the producer me talking. So it's not, well, lower bracket. Okay, I'm reading Twitch chat now. Lower bracket is best of 3. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Clutch, for answering. But yeah, other than that, I will hopefully see you guys tonight. I'm pretty sure we have Pack-a-Paul and Colonel on the cast, right? Am I wrong, Clutch?
Should.
We should. Okay. So we will hopefully see you guys then